Greetings from the hostage diaries. Tonight, we're going to mostly talk about this theoretical game of handicapping and the resulting causality requires mutation of various systematic um, constructs. So, my entire life has been hacked. And then they utilize these primitive marks to justify actions used against me for other purposes. Then these ranks that are inflicted upon me require that I am contained. That's mostly why, and not to mention the kidnappers, and they are kidnappers. They because the law is in on this. The politicians are partially in on this. The media is definitely a big part of this. But so the law, the politicians, and the media are a big part of this. So the mob is able to, and I'm easily moved. I mean, there are only so many options. They either use Craigslist, because I'm in the less miles to the Joe Bubble, or any other thing. I do not know. And like I said, a lot of this could be and probably is, so I don't sound paranoid, random acts. Then when I arrive someplace, or there's ways to move things around, pull strings in order to free open slots or whatever. So when I get put in the position, then the illumination, because I'm usually I just tend to wear, my masks only last so long until I start clawing at the switches or in the furious nature of the predicaments. Mostly because now, especially, I was never allowed to grow up in order to be handicapped because all these fraud brothers and fraud ranks that were inflicted upon me had to inflict their rank or their superiority, so superior drill. So yeah, these frauds who are little bitty nobodies for the most part, literally little bitty. So the smaller they are, the even smaller I have to be. It's like they're talking about the justification is it's like me as a thoroughbred or a horse they're riding. Most horses could live in $100,000 life. I've got to live on hundreds of dollars because I'm not really a fucking horse. I'm trying to curb my tendencies. I'm not a horse, so I have to be on hundreds of dollars because if I had the same amount of resources as any other normal horse, I could pretty much escape. But that's why I'm stuck with hundreds of dollars. That proves that it's a fraud, but they don't seem to care. So the handicapping of it, so the world is being handicapped. There's literally, this is one of the reasons the Sigma Delta Chi obviously was plugged into this, which is completely opposite of rational thought, the balance. The balance is straight up and down steep. Very, very, very county oriented. If you think in terms of bears and bulls or county parishes or banks and accounts, it's very individualist voter accounts. Even though accounts have varying dimensions of various denominations. That's where they don't make any real qualification. That's where the wealthy are crazy and incompetent because they're playing the party game. They're allowing the party to utilize me, their banker officer, while the estate is not being managed. So they don't allow me. There's no offenses. They don't allow me to utilize or manage the estate, but nobody else is doing it with them. They're allowing those that are determined by the equality, which is a whole, and so it's really screwing handicapping notion of me keeping me small in order to be contained, which is just insanely crazy. It's like they do not want me to date out of my league, or they do not want me to have too good of a life, or and they keep lowering me and lowering me and lowering me and lowering me down to where I have just a pathetic existence, where I mean, they screwed up so bad that the system has to mutate so bad to save their pathetic, worthless asses, which it's not worth it to me. I mean, really, they should. The system is having to mutate so much that it's going to have horrific consequences in the very near or long-term future because of it's going to be chaos. I mean, completely just destroyed foundational notions. So handicapping is a major part. And then they want to teach me lessons to be empathetic. I am dragged around and put around people. First of all, whoever is in control of managing me, nobody. First of all, we're talking about at least $1 billion asset. And it's pot luck, roll the dice. That is criminal. That's criminal negligence right there. Not only that, so then I get put into these situations where I have to be taught empathetic lessons, which is insane negligence, right? Mismanagement. I guarantee a lot of what's going on now has to do with back in the day. I mean, Georgia's out of their mind. They are some of the. I mean, they should have not. They were crazy. But the public wanted their. After I got attacked viciously, but the problem was I didn't know I was attacked, or I didn't know these hacks. They had to wait it out until my body. They had to wait it out. So the public wanted their piece of me, which is highly criminal, and I will never forgive. They have to destroy big parts of the world using these. That's why NASCAR is God, Walmart is God, McDonald's is God. That's how their Jesus saves them, by destroying the world. The God of wrath. That's why there was a Pope rat thing on when you sure because you got it. Rob Zombie was absolutely correct. You got a bunch of poser nobodies that shouldn't have, who decided to daredevil ramp the warning signs and do not want to pay the consequences because they went and got married and they think or they got baptized or some BS like that. Which, okay, this is not a normal circumstance. We're talking about millions and millions and millions of lives. But what does that do? That gives them this air of godly superiority. There's your Louisiana Pacific Titans lessons of the insane gangsters that are allowed to manage me take as a debt. Once again, they're double down there and double down there. And even though they're playing with borrowed house money, that they do not even, they have no, I mean, we're talking about literally trillions of dollars now. And we're talking about people with tens of thousands of dollars. It's a group, a public school. I mean, I mean, literally. So the criminal part, though, has got to be the wealthy. The wealthy allowed this to happen. And what they did, this is probably why I ended up in Texas. You had a bunch of those wildcatter or energy people out there. And so the public mob played the individual wildcatter. So rather than me being able to go through and eat some meat, all these monsters grew up real big. While I stayed small because I had to be handicapped JV. And nobody was managing the estate. So, yeah, I mean, now the problem is, if I would have eaten some of them, and then I could have controlled some of these major corporations that are going to just wreck the world, totally out of control now. That was my mission, is to control some of these major corporations. But now, because of these posers, nobody, five and dime, nothing, public school, JV golf, honchos, these ranks, or even these frat brothers that are trying to prove they're right. And sure, you can shoot somebody and watch them almost die. That's what happened. Basically, they shot me enough times and put me on life support, where I'm literally on life. This is life support right now. I am barely alive, hanging by a thread because they have to. That's the only way. Like I said, if a normal thoroughbred, $100,000 existence, which is pretty small these days. Most $100,000 is lower middle class, or $250,000 existence is a normal. With that, I mean, gosh, what I could do. I mean, I'm literally living on hundreds of dollars. I mean, that's how crazy it is because of the fraud island of Dr. Moreau. So they take all my genes and throw it into a Smoothie King or a hamburger vat, and then they divide it up, and then they gene splice and come up with all these X-Men mutants and creatures and things like that that I have to be held captive for. Because if I rise up, I might want them my genes back, and they want to protect their magic power. So I have to be handicapped, JV. So it's crazy. I mean, well, I just don't get this. It makes absolutely no sense. I know it's like one of those drunk, they are deathly addicted like heroin or crack cocaine or steroids because they have to keep their supply going. And they keep on, what they do is they just keep selling more shares of me, more pieces of me to weight me down. So, handicapping is a major part. So because they had to handicap me, Europe is going to be massive. Which, and I honestly think, and this is what's going on with SCAD here, this renovation, architectural renovation. Europe is going to be the example over the next 100 years. We're going to cut. Eventually, they're going to get full. It's this feeding frenzy, competitive eating buffet. And eventually the world has to ebb off a little bit and say, well, let's start clear. I've been calling for it. Let's, rather than just sprawl, let's fix the core, fix the whole problem rather than just getting bigger and bigger by fixing this. That is not what. So when they finally decide to cut out on the feeding frenzy, competitive eating, it's going to go back to revitalization efforts. The problem is they want to keep that. I mean, it's truly these people really hate me. I understand. I mean, they screwed me and they're afraid that they don't want to pay anything. They think it's the blood dope or whatever. They can hide behind these political machines. They can hide behind these corporate machines and avoid, that, and that's how they sell parts of me into slavery. So yeah, you've got the public wanted their pieces of me, which is absolutely crazy criminal. And they sell me, and it's like, well, now I've got post-traumatic stress disorder from night terrors, from me wasting my life away trying to escape for so many years. And so that's a bribe to the military, camaraderie, which I mean, absolutely crazy though. I mean, there is no justification for this. You go to any family in America and say, we're going to make you, we want all of your money and we want you to come live in zoo cages while we breed you with some of our, breed you so we can ride you. That sort of, in any family in America, well, any family that is worth anything. But of course, my family was never allowed to or never smart enough to turn our raw material into tangible proof assets, which I've been trying to do, and I am not allowed to do. So yeah, now I've got to go play it's the offspring, come out and play the hospitality games, which it's a waste of time. First of all, it's wasting more time. What they want is Butterfingers. It goes back to they hate the fact that my global options, BLM, St. Bartholomew, Butterfingers, fucking Bart Simpson, You know, they want it to be hard to handle was a hard to hold and hard to handle. Chris Robinson from the Black Crows, and then Rick Springfield, which even ties into Butterfingers, was a movie, album back in the 80s. That was more dealing with my father and my uncles, and they got handled pretty easily because they were brainwashed. I mean, that was the crazy dare that happened upon it. But I mean, the problem is, it's an out of control system. I mean, they should. I don't understand I don't know what they were thinking. I guess it was going more towards. It just got well. The balance is way off. These people hate banks. They really, really hate banks. They love free range, independent elk and white-tailed deer. I guess what they would consider a bank would be one of these free-range farms. That's kind of what this area is, a free-range farm with some clubs and things like that. But it doesn't have protection from when the system is heading over a cliff or in rocky shores, not to mention the effects it's having on the global economy. Yeah, and the politicians are happy because they have more and more. They have the majority. Probably have the most power they could possibly have is in the hands of the politicians. Well, the problem is you've got, if you look throughout history, and they're trying to say we don't want a totalitarian dictator. Well, they're always fear mongering. Worst case scenario, fear mongering in order to keep it in the hands of the commune, equal voters. Well, somebody needs to step up and put down some sort of authoritative, balanced budget and fix the problem before it's unfixable. I mean, let's sell off all the national parks. I'd like to buy up a bunch of those national parks, even though I don't have any money. I'd like to buy a big chunk of the West. I'm sure there's plenty of cash money out there that wants to buy up all these national parks. That'll pay off a big chunk of the debt. There's all sorts of ways. That's one big solution. But when I called for buying White National Park and putting a private club on top of the mountain up there, smart idea. But that's when I also wanted to turn it into a principality. I think there needs to be some principalities. Not necessarily like a huge country principality, like a Louisiana, the entire state could be a principality, but they would fight to the death. That's a cancer there because of they are so worried about, and I guarantee it comes back to the Texas mob kidnapping. Texas longhorns, a head of cattle, counts. It's all about Texas is a commune state, county state, and they have kidnapped me, being the head of a parish state, and they want to inflict their dominance. They hate math. That's math. That's E plus and minus. They do not like math at all. And so they have kidnapped me 20 plus years now, and they have totally ruined the world in my estimation. So who's going to ruin the world then? You got a bunch of these major corporations, and you got these Terminators and Transformers, TNT, and nobody can control it because they were so. They used Russia as the motivation, but when Russia bowed out, as far as they they kept this, they kept on going. They never. It's crazy. And now they're fighting to the death because if you ever get into the argument about how poorly managed, well, the media is totally anarchist. So they've just buried. It's like they buried one half of the story. They don't want to even talk about its revenge for all the history of hidden truths and things like that. So yeah, there's a whole other branch of logic that's not even being discussed as far as the bears and the bulls. Real economic capitalism. It's just the M&M. Literally. What happened to the College of Agriculture at LSU? One of my fraternity brothers' father is either president or vice president of it, regardless. That's M&M Mars. That's not A&M, because the fraternity itself is a machine organization. So it's agriculture. There's no blood. There's no real blood in the fraternities. So it's an M&M Mars is what that is, really. So LSU is not an A&M school. It is an M&M school, which has even been flipped. So it's really like wand. It's bizarre. So it's really like M&M Mars. That is a major, major, major flaw in logic. So that mutates the way the entire state. It's like in your brain. Your brain is hacked to where you don't see things right. They take your senses and they hack them to where you cannot see, you taste, and you don't. Your mental capacity is, rather than using 3 dimensions, you're using 2 dimensions. You know, there's not a whole. The depth perception's not there. So that's what they've done. They've hacked the brain to where it thinks in this very faraway sort of mentality. And then they're handicapping me as being, I'm the balance, and so they're trying to handicap the balance. What they're trying to do is it really is just a feeding frenzy, competitive eating. And okay, that's probably enough reiteration on that. My story here, this is considered a massive waste of time. Very, very unprofessional, because it will be utilized against me in the future. I mean, I've been literally kidnapped since the 1990s and been trying to escape verbally since 2007. The media's been burying me. So, I mean, there's enough dirt out there. I'm dead meat anyway. That's part of the handicap. I know I saw something today where one of the heads of SBE was denied, he couldn't buy a casino. That's Bo Revi's revenge there. I'll never be a real owner. Part of the handicap, and that's JV me. You know, they're always trying to screw me in the future. They want to play it to where they screwed me in the future to handicap me. I guarantee it goes back to La Bamba, when my father flew a private jet of the guy he worked for, to my graduation in West Texas, and my sister flew back with him. And then when they kidnapped my sister got involved with this crazy cult at SMU, which has the Bushes right there in them to make them seem very legit, even though the mob is forcing the hand of the Bushes to play a certain way, which is very, very detrimental. Stupid, honestly. They're forcing their hand, just like they're forcing, the poorer they play, they have to compensate because of the shared pool genetics within the sorority. So if the dumber they play, the worse they drive, they are forcing the hand of people to compensate in order to protect the overall. So because we're the source of this genetic power, even though the ranks are made from money and power within the system. So we don't really matter in the system. We rank really low. It's like we contribute billions in value, but we're ranked really, really low. So those with billions in cash utilize most of the billions in genetic value. But because we rank low in the cash scheme and the power scheme, even though we can, that's the whole same thing happened to me with my fraternity. Because I contribute the billions, but in the ranks, I got buried so low in the rank scheme that I don't get to use my body. It's like I said, they took my Ferrari factory or Gulfstream factory or Trinity Yacht factory body, gave me a used bike that I don't even get to use. So, yes, this is a horrific, stupid, idiocracy waste of time. I should be running a corporation right now, but I'm infuriated, which is limiting my future potential. I think it goes back to No Limit Master P, which was stating a fact. It was a siren star stating a fact, and then that got used as a dare. That's once again a dare gamble. But the Bo Revi's on me, and I've got to back That's the crazy part about this whole thing. So because of this no limit, they had to keep me small, and then they had to torture me to try to burn as many bridges as possible by infuriating me, or by doing stupid things, or by, in order to limit my potentials to be handicapped to a certain level. I know they don't want me to date outside of the circle. One of the reasons they want me to wait is so I can only date a certain class of girls, which is absolutely insane. I've got to be empathetic to all the brothers out there who don't have that potential, even though they rank higher than me because they stole my body in this sham. So, and then I can't have a private jet. There's got to be revenge for that. The public school is crazy. I mean, we literally gave trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to this public school, and it's not enough. They are addicted like cocaine, juice head addicts, crackheads. And they just, I mean, we've literally given trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to public schools. Worst investment ever. My aunt was a teacher her entire life, and she gets no reward. And Louisiana State is so screwed up because when they what's happening now, I had one aunt that worked for the Department of Labor her whole life, and I had one aunt that was a teacher her entire life. The state of Louisiana is a joke debacle. I mean, literally. And what does that do? It makes them look bad in the big picture scenario. So they have to stay small, which they didn't really have any controls. I mean, they're just stuck. I mean, they're actors living out their lives, and eventually it becomes real after you just play the role. And I've been in a position, I'm awake enough and conscious enough, even though I'm not allowed to live my life anymore, in order to see the bit. When you get shrunk down, and that's what happened with me. I got hacked at an early age. They were beating me. They started attacking me very, very young to shrink me down. And when you shrink me down, the perspective, my brain shrinks down like a polo guy, and I don't see very far, or I don't see big picture. It's micro perspective. Even though I taught myself to see macro perspective, and they call me crazy for looking at it in the macro perspective because they are trying to keep me kidnapped, keep me small. That's the crazy part about it. It's obviously, I'm a theoretician. I've been a theoretician, a social critic for 20 years now. That's been my job. And I've been trying to finish books about it. My ADHD is hampering me mightily. Then they figured out a way to hinder me even worse as far as, it's just frustration now. I mean, my quality of work is I'll never know how good I could have been, honestly. And that's what, honestly, the kidnappers, the crazy hacking handicappers want me to fail, or they want me to be handicapped. They're obsessed with this psychotic handicapping. Handicap. Because it's like they're beating me down. It's like whack-a-mole. Just beat Maxwell Hammer. Amateur brain surgery. Just beat me to skew in order to keep me small and mess to prove that they are superior grills. That's how crazy this whole nation is. So Louisiana is really screwed up, the political system. And you can see Texas is actually correcting this. Texas knows what's up. Texas is very guilty. And so it has to be right. When you're guilty, you don't have a lot of margin of error. So you have to be really clean. So Texas cleaned itself up. It doesn't have a budget deficit, even though it's got a demographic issues. But it realizes what's up. And they're trying to play sides. Savannah forced their hand. Savannah really messed up. I think what happened I had got stalked by some crazies from the north. What happened was when I went to Glacier Park, I had a big apartment. First of all, I spent a month. First month I was there working on building these new dormitories for all the employees. I got hired as a manager of a bar, the restaurant. I was an overall manager, 12 hours a day. And so I got there and I worked on all these. I had this really nice apartment with a kitchen, a bedroom, a den, and TV, and all this stuff. Most of the other apartments were shared rooms, and all these stuff, dorm style sort of stuff. So there was animosity created. I ended up dating like 3 or 4 girls while I was there, and partied a lot, but it didn't catch up with me till later. The problem was, like I said, I'm never allowed to grow up. It's like I act the way I act like I should act. But they wanted to teach me to play dumb. Like they wanted to teach me to sandbag, to play dumb or to act, to not to be humble or something like that because I pay. Because I'm never allowed to grow up to protect myself. I actually shrunk down. So the next time I was out west, I get a job at Culture, and I end up making a starts over just like I'm friends with everybody again. The thing is, when you get to a resort like that, everybody arrives at the same time. So it's just kind of like everybody starts getting on. So I was dating some people. I had a lot of friends, worked a lot. Then I got into trouble and ended up getting fired. Then moved into Jackson. And then in Jackson, there was a lot of entrenched people there. And I was not part of that clique or in the group, so I was kind of alienated and never got situated in there. But they figured, believe me, the mob especially, this was after the Beau Rivage was built. And so they knew all about it. And I was never allowed to grow up. I had a decent job and I had enough money to protect myself, but I was alienated to a degree. It never became to where I could network. I needed to network, and I never could. I never did. I don't know what it was. I don't really know. So then I ended up going to Crested Butte. I lost my job there. Then ended up dead broke. Then I ended up in Aspen. Was never connected at all. But I think, like I said, it went back to, I think there were people from Minnesota and Michigan. When I was in Glacier, they had this like strike against me. This guy from Michigan in the pizza place got up, him and a couple of people just walked out. I can't remember why. I don't exactly remember, but he got pissed off. He was, I don't remember why, the logistics, but that seems, and so I think the whole part of it, I don't know, for some reason I got roped, and then when I was working in Glacier, Crested Butte, I had 2 roommates. I got hired to be a restaurant manager. One of the other guys was a maintenance guy, and the other guy was a front desk manager, and his girlfriend who worked at the front desk, or in PI. So I was there for 2 weeks and lost my job. So the only job they had was working 3 days a week at 5 in the morning for a few hours handing out or weather reports and doing websites. So I was working like 12 hours a week maybe. Gave me I got a free ski pass, had no income at all. And so all I did was ski every day. And so it created animosity because every day all these guys would come home from work. What'd you do today? I went skiing. I skied every day. There was nothing else to do. I didn't ski all day every day. I skied like 2 or 3 hours. But literally, there was nothing else to do. I would either sit around the apartment and watch TV or on the internet or go skiing, which I did. So I did that. And so I created, and this one guy was from Michigan State, and then towards the end of the season, there was a lot of animosity because if I would have kept my job, we would end up being probably good friends. But because I had no income, I couldn't go out, I couldn't hang out, I couldn't, we never did mesh as it was because they were working and I was not. So I think this bred into some other things. And there was some alienation as far as so people in the Midwest, obviously. It obviously ties into Kroger and Cincinnati, 513 414, all that sort of stuff. So there was an animosity towards me. And they sided with the South. The South, and because Baton Rouge was so crazy stupid and wanted me I was never able to travel much. I had one job outside of in the South, outside in Nashville that lasted about a month, and I was dating a girl from New Orleans, so I ended up driving home twice in that time, and then got fired from that. So I didn't ever develop any relationships. Baton Rouge was obsessed, psychotic obsession with these inflicted rents, which is haunting them terribly. Even though they might get paid off, like IBM built a building, which is a payoff, it's a hitman payoff in my estimation. They're going to get paid on the back end. One of the reasons I think my father was coaxed into insurance was they can use it against me. Well, they can screw me when they get paid off in insurance, and they look like champs. They're smart, played us against each other, and what we can do to make, they're using us, which is crazy stupid because still, they lost Shaw, they lost Shell Oil, they lost Freeport McMoran, they lost, what else? Few others. They got a bunch of movies, but still, I mean, that's nothing compared to Shaw and Freeport McMoran and Shell Oil, Tidewater jumped ship. McDermott closed up. Avondale just closed up a big shipyard. So then they're building all these methane plants, liquefied natural gas plants, which I could have owned. I lost $1 billion. Literally. I could have owned some of those liquefied natural gas easily. And I know somehow they're tying into me as a representational utilization of Louisiana natural resources. So I'm sure that's one of the reasons I'm in this sweat lodge. Lester Bangs. See, the uncooler I am, the more cool that other people are utilizing this natural gas. That makes them cool, so they get my cool. That's the whole transference Skinner principle. St. Bart's joke. So, yes, psychotic. Oh, yeah, so the alienation of the groups in the Midwest who have obviously sided with the North because the South, and in the South, did nothing, never lifted a finger, just kind of sat back, didn't do a thing. I was dying. I mean, I was literally dying, like just barely alive on life support, at zero. And just time, when you're it is crazy stupid. They made one of the worst strategic mistakes. So now they're having to decide, and so it worked. When I got slammed here by the North, which started a chain of events. Well, there was several chain of events where I got either shot or spiked or whatever. Crested Butte started a chain of events, which was a downhill spiral avalanche. Then, when I did the Timberline thing, that was another one. Then there were several groups in Aspen, several times in Aspen. It always made me, like, when the Great Recession happened, I had to pay partially for that. I mean, it's just crazy. And I mean, like I said, why not allow me to fix the problems rather than using me as a whipping post? Never understood that at all. Play size for good luck. So yeah, it's all about handicapping. Oh, the license to ill Rodeo. I honestly think there's a scheme set up right now with me. Rather than me being able to get away with things because I was supposed to be managing this vast, huge global estate, which is one of the hardest jobs in the history of the world, and they had to make it 1,000 times harder. They want me to fail. They literally want, that's the sabotage, sweep the leg, Cobra Kai, Karate Kid Napsters, sabotage the rise of the kings, and they want to put in these Transformers and these Terminators. No fences. So rather than me being able to go and tame Latin America to a degree and help the people, and put strong muscular formations down there, growth, they want just like the USA suburban sprawl. Let's just get them fat, widen that belt, and put strip malls, category killers, and that's all they want. That way, all the brothers, the public schools share, bro. That's why I am hacked so low. Is so then, because when I'm that low, me representing the A and the M, LSU or Texas A and M, I'm the A, but the A has been hijacked and they put in this fraud brother. His father, he's not a fraud, but what he's a machine. Agriculture is supposed to be the blood, so they replace the blood with a machine, a terminator machine, parts, a herd, swarm, whatever you want to call it. So they want to inflict upon all of my territories that I'm supposed to be governing or managing or trying to control. They want to inflict terminators and transformers, and that's why they keep sabotaging me. I guarantee it goes back to this rank system. That's why I'm fighting these ranks so much. Because I am lower, I'm like the 1999 Prince Purple Rain joke. I am actually lower than 99% because I got hacked so many ways. JV, illegal parking tickets, and so they use the system to bury me, and the Omega hack. So they use the system to bury me, so that way the agriculture is then replaced by systematic machinery, and this is creating an anarchy revolution globally, and nobody will fix it. That's where the wealthy are crazy, stupid. They have a serious identity crisis because the wealthy are worshiping the party system, which is one person, one vote equality. I am representing the banking system, which is varying degrees of wealth in each account, where the wealthy are crazy. I mean, literally, they're playing party favorites because it's been such a massacre for so long that they do not want, and they will not lift one finger to help me. And now the public has me. They have literally kidnapped me. They have control over me. I'm sure if somebody tries to rescue me, there will be some sort of attack, probably, because they waited so long. It's like a dope head. You know, you're not going to take our. It's like they're guarding their massive stash of dope, which is me. So if anybody tries to free me, there'll probably be some major repercussions. So I'm trying, and they keep me at this hacked low stage of existence. And like I said, this is very, I'm going to getting into the consciousness of this being so, it's kind of gonzo journalistic, because I am a major part, this is a story, but I'm dealing with that's once again going into this pathetic state of escapism over, it's vanity. I gave it was one of those things, we were coming back from Colorado, and we stopped by in New Mexico at this. I don't even know why. I never bought my sister any gifts, hardly ever. I hadn't in years, and we stopped by this. I wanted to get her something for graduation, and so I ended up seeing the only thing that was halfway decent there was a mirror. Everything else was just like cheap, and this, a mirror could pass for a nice gift. It was done in silver, so I got it like for $20-$30 or something like that. We didn't even see her. We just left it on her doorstep. We were driving through, and that was kind of after I had one of my bad mistakes, one of the worst ones in my life that has haunted me. When I was still in this oblivious state of existence, unsure, and I had no idea. Well, I was working on some specific artistic project, and I got lost in it pretty deep. I don't know. I will never be able to get. I still need to get back to the point of being able to rewrite that, and work on that. That's a whole another phase of life. So this individual, the vanity lessons, because it's this Scrooged mentality. They want me to hate the mob. Wants me to hate giving gifts. It's got to be all natural. Not to mention, I've wasted my entire natural life sitting in a room extremely handicapped, so I'm not allowed to give gifts because any gift I give will be a horrific nightmare to make me not want to give gifts because I don't know. I think it's just they hate the fact that I have options, and so they want to make me empathetic to their plight by them inflicting me not having options in their stupid games is empathetic to them not having options in my global game, that's my only criminally psychological interpretation of it. So the mirror represented narcissism. So my entire life is escape from Alcatraz, sort of Capone, Capital One, varsity, JVV, whatever, rank caste system. So this is one of the Omega worst ways of teaching me vanity lessons because I gave the gift, and the gift is haunting me because I am not allowed to give gifts for some odd reason. That's the only interpretation I can figure. And not to mention, gifts are then used as charge cards. No limit charge cards as empathetic to the options that the kidnappers are stealing from me. Because I have no limit options by birth. I would have if I would have been raised properly, but they wanted to bury me and hide me, so they want to torture me. That's one of those things, shooting at the sirens. It's like when you see a flashing light, shoot at it, shoot at it. They spent many years of my life trying to cut the sirens. It's like I'm a representative of a vast global bank estate of assets. I'm a partner in it. And I have partners all over the world. That's global options. That's why I have global options. So when somebody drills into me or tries to steal some of the options, part of the global bank will put on a siren. So what they've destroyed, they've been attacking my global estate so many years now. That's one of the motives. So they can cut out a siren, so they can steal what they want to without any repercussions, and to keep the lights off. They're vampires. If the lights come on, they'll turn to dust. So yeah, they literally, and then they trained me. This is where it gets into the organ theft. And this goes back to when I was young, and I had really good music. I was a very cool kid, even though I was alone most of the time. I was my musical taste. I used to get those record clubs that were in the back of magazines and order them. And it started with Kiss. I remember that. I had a bunch of Kiss albums. Then I remember I got a Steve Miller, Fly Like an Eagle. I used to listen to that all the time. And Grand Illusion, great album. I'll listen to that a bunch of times. Sticks. Then I ended up in these record clubs I got the Clash, Combat Rock, Judas Priest. I was into metal. AC/DC. I remember used to bring, and this was probably one of the reasons I'm being haunted by they turned the demons against me with the tattoo. And the demons are not very smart. The underworld they do not have big picture sight. That's the difference between angels and demons, I guess. Demons don't have they're stuck in their little bubbles. They're not allowed the big picture sight because the media is controlled to a degree. It's the microscopic media sort of inside. So they used the demons they got the demons to turn against me as revenge for the Kiss Army. That's the Omega polarity reversal. Or I used to bring AC/DC on the bus. And like I said, I was not I liked the music because it was fast paced. Right now I listen to techno because it's fast paced. It's because I had ADHD. I liked heavy, fast paced music because it grabs my attention because it was always me looking for something to keep me focused. And like I listen to techno now, it keeps me focused. Metal or heavy music did that. So yeah, I used to listen to Judas Priest and all sorts of things. I used to get those tapes or in the back of the record club, B&G or Warner or whoever it was, Columbia, and I would have a bunch of tapes that I would get and listen to and those sorts of things. So that was the majority of reasoning why they had to turn that against me because I am not allowed to. See, they reversed the field. I should be able to, the Beastie Boys licensed ill, there's a reason I should be able to do it because I have a vast global estate to try and control. So then you should want me as strong as possible because it is a dark, dangerous horrifically evil world out there right now, especially because there's been no control other than the politicians and dictators. The church doesn't really do much of anything. The church really needs my help. So I honestly think it was I think it was the cops. The cops wanted to sabotage me to protect the sanctity of the politicians. I think the cops and the politicians. I think that's when I got hijacked in Texas and got whacked in Texas, and that's when I got whacked in Baton Rouge. I think it's the cops and the politicians working to a degree because they did not want me to succeed. Because it was like sabotage when I was a king. If I would have risen up, formed a principality, I could have gone somewhere like St. Bart's is there. I could have gone somewhere in the Caribbean or somewhere in South America, potentially formed. And I'm not talking about a dictatorship or just a principality, a banking principality, to protect a stronghold for a bank, basically for the bank. And I'm not talking about hiding money per se, just a strong banking. And I think this is where New York did not want the competition. New York wants all the money in New York. They do not. They want all the banks in New York. If this would have happened in the 80s with my father, if they would have found, if it would have been managed properly, they would have started a bank in Latin America that would have been in charge of trade for the Panama Canal. They could have put one in Panama, Costa Rica, or somewhere down there. I'm not talking about Noriega along the drug money bank, but just a trade bank. New Orleans is one of the major trade ports in the world, and so it could have been used, but we were mismanaged horrifically, probably sabotaged on many different levels. And rather than allowing us to grow big, they wanted to amplify the value of the products produced. So I think what happened is they took all our power and then they subdivided it into barrels of oil, into the petroleum products. So it made these more powerful. So therefore, the individuals that were using these got this big boost of value. That's what it's just been going on. And that's where you get into the sacred St. John's individuals, which is there's no balance. The sacred individuals is more the inside of the ALien. There was no way balance. So yeah, I should Beastie Boys License to Ill is now been turned against me. So now, and this is, I honestly think this is a beauty shot on me. Because right now, like China is arresting people left and right for corruption. The entire world is becoming really clean cut. Ken Starr Bail. I honestly think this is a conscious thing going on. They have because so they I can't get they're trying to I can't get away with anything. Even though I should have been able to grow, and they had to keep me really small. So by me paying extreme for everything, I'm talking about every permanent mark. By me paying, it shrinks me down, shrinkage, really, 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 really small. By me becoming really, really, really small, it's no offense, it's Wild, Wild West, Wild World. So then the Transformers and the Transformers swoop in and lock down a chunk of the asset, controlling a chunk of the value of assets. And then then they'll have the Terminators, like these politicians will rise up to a certain degree and do their thing. But there's no real bank with the interest. They're trying to claim it, but there's a massive conflict of interest there because it's a different ideological state. That's why there's the counties and the parishes. But they basically hijack the parishes. Allowing Texas to hijack Louisiana is going to be one of the biggest flaws in the history of the world. It could destroy Europe. And Texas doesn't care. Texas does not care. They think Houston's beautiful. Drive for 200 miles and nothing but. I lived in Houston. I used to deliver meat and drove trucks in Houston when I was in high school, which should have made me big, but instead they used it against me. They use that as a precedent for me to sell on my estate as meat as a pipeline, rather than it just being developing muscle. It's always used against me every step. So, taking my organs and distributing the value, I am not allowed to, like I said, my original heart would be a Trinity Yacht Factory or Aston Martin or things like that, but instead that has been sold. It's a Neiman Marcus is sold by these luxury goods people who do not pay their bills. Literally, they are not paying for the value they're deriving, and that's why the system is so far out of control. If these people had paid, they're paying off. The government is not on the side of the wealthy. Eventually, the government will kill the wealthy, no doubt about it. Especially with all the debt we have accrued, and they're infallible. You got to realize it. After me, the government is infallible. The blood we're talking about eternal and infallible blood that they've been drinking. So the government is going to turn on the wealthy. The wealthy has no plan of escape that I can tell so far. They screwed Europe really bad. They're all going to everybody thinks they're all going to go live in Scotland or the Midlands, I guess. Or Scotland, the Midlands, and Ireland, or Alaska, or Canada. But they're going to get hunted. Eventually, the economy is going to hunt them down, especially the connectivity rates. So by sabotaging Louisiana from controlling Latin America is a huge powder keg of value that will then, it's just crazy. I mean, who really wants these I mean, I like corporations. I think they're valuable pieces of, I've shopped at them, I've used them time and time again, and I don't think they'll hold any animosity towards the truth that I'm preaching. It's just, I was forced to play this hand. They wanted to prove, once again, I'm reiterating this, I am using logic. They wanted to prove that logic was not right. I am doing the right thing. Because most of the system is now based on illiterate logic because they have the ability to read in 3 dimensions. So like I said, they can read in 2 dimensions, but reality is in 3 dimensions. If they looked at it in 3 dimensions, their theories are wrong because they don't factor in. So they read it in 2 dimensions where it appears to be right. Whereas I am reading things in 3 dimensions. So they've tried to force me using 3 dimensions to alienate, and it's going to end up haunting me by speaking. It's like the Omerta or something like that. Lady Gaga, to where I'm reading, and this is why you got the war between English and code. And then code produces a ton of wealth and tons of individual power, and English is based upon a hierarchy system of string. And so now there's a war between that. I'm reading English, they're fighting in code, and they're using it to turn against me, and they're attacking my estate, and they're inflicting. So rather than the balance, rather than my estate having a balance of some A and M, they want all MMRs. They want it all machines. All machines. They want to get rid of all the blood. Well, they're trying to herd all the blood. It's going to be like Beverly Hills or Aspen. They're sitting ducks. They can be picked off at any time. They didn't prepare. I gave them the option. My plan was form a private club like Yellowstone Club, Principality, bring in its own private security force, and then privatize. That's all I was saying about buying the top of the mountain and turning that hole in it. There's a big, long area that can be transformed into a very, very strong castle region on the top of the mountain that would take helicopters or missiles to attack. And then I was also my plan was to have a small Air Force, anti-aircraft missiles and things like that. That's, if you really want to get into some smart banking that'll last the next 100 years, that was my plan. Then they could chop off, they would put up a gate over near, probably right past Buttermilk, and then the valley can develop normally, and we'll have to see. That was just a plan. There needs to be something. I wanted to build a principality in Louisiana. I wanted to build a principality in some in Central and Latin America. in order to have balance. But New York is crazy. New York is really, really, really greedy, stupid, crazy. They do not want balance. That's why the wealthy of New York should be raising ever-living hell right now, because they are gambling their futures. Well, we can handle it. We can handle it. We can keep all your money here, rather than diversifying the banking throughout all of Latin America, several different banking principalities in Latin America. They did not want Louisiana. I think what it is, if Louisiana develops into a bank, a global banking center, or Louisiana and builds a network in the Caribbean, and I'm not talking about a Cayman Island, I'm talking about a trade bank that actually grows from vast quantities of trade between Latin America, Europe, the Gulf, and then branch into Asia and the Middle East, and then Africa. And then from all the money that would be generated, these banks would grow big. So it could be any number of places in the Caribbean or in Central or Latin America. So that is competition to New York. New York would because New York is a union. Corporations are unions. There's different values, but for the most part, it's a shared sort of scenario. So there would have been, what would have happened is the wealthy would have probably flocked out of New York. That's what they're fearing. They would have had options. They did not want the wealthy to have options. Right now, what are the options for the wealthy? You look, all the wealthy are playing London. Everybody is playing London right now. And, they could have had a lot more options there if they would have had. That's great. But, you could have, but instead, that's one of the reasons I have been blacklisted for so many years. That's why they are creating a revolution in Europe, a Sigma Delta Chi, sweet dude revolution, in order to undermine, because I think what is they're scared of is they're like, because I'm pointing these facts out. Everybody, obviously, Switzerland is losing a lot of its glamour as far as its place to hide money. But the problem is, like I said, I was looking to form a legitimate banking institution or area, and with branches. But I think it would have divided New York's power as far as their banking power, and then you would have had, especially, there is a lot of individual big wealthy people. Italy, Spain, Europe has as much wealth as the United States. It's all a few families. So it would have given them the options of moving things around and having. It would have been safer. It would have been a lot safer. The way they're going right now is a terrible gamble. Just truly a gamble. It doesn't make any sense, especially with the connectivity of the world. And look at all the revolutions flare up like that. It's stupid for them to do this so long. They're not prepared at all, and the mob knows it. The mob smells blood, fat blood, and so they're just, that's what they're using me for. They will not allow. So the mob is keeping me down because they realize I would help the wealthy, and they want to hunt those fuckers. They want their piece, go out and elk hunt. I did have a job selling bullets and guns at Garden Sports and Jackson. I just applied for a job. I needed skis. I needed all the equipment. And she put me there. I would have probably rather been in another part of the store, but that's what it was. So that was probably not one of my better options. But hey, I was broke my entire life, so I took the best, cheapest job in order to get the cheapest equipment. So yeah, it's going to end up, they're going to end up hunting the wealthy. It's just crazy. Because they're not going to be able to, I guess they're counting on China coming, but China is going to be, I don't know, it's difficult. Doesn't make any sense. They just, for some reason, Louisiana had a vital mission, and it got, Texas killed it. Texas is a straight up communist state. They are blatant red. I mean, they are more communist than China. I mean, it's crazy. They fly this capitalist flag, but I mean, they are commune. It's bizarre. And they massacred Louisiana. Louisiana didn't do anything. Well, they got Louisiana to alien. Right now, all of Louisiana, and then there's Louis one, and the rest are all everybody is siding with because it's they and it goes back to individual pride. Everybody is so heavily infused this individual bourbon pride. Yeah, they're blood doping bourbon on them. So now everybody, there's no heroes. Everybody's so sacred, valuable. I matter the least, even though I supply most of the blood, and then they convert it